MedicBK is a clinical decision support service. Using statistical data, the service allows doctors to make informed choices about the most effective treatment to offer to a particular patient by taking into account their specific risk factors and health profile. MedicBK works by identifying the most significant risk factors of a particular case and provides a range of possible treatment options based on current official guidelines. What sets the software apart from others is that it performs calculations comparing the efficacy and safety of available medication or intervention treatment for a specified condition by using network meta-analysis. Each of the possible treatment options are compared against each other by taking into account the health profile of the patient. As an example, let us consider a clinical case of atrial fibrillation. The patient is a man of 75 years old, weighing 110 kilos, who has a persistent form of AFib, stage 3 arterial hypertension, with a history of stroke and reduced renal function. First, the clinician fills in the MedicBK patient questionnaire. For each characteristic, the software provides a range of present options, along with definitions for reference. Based on current guidelines, the system identifies the risk factors for this condition and then offers to choose the first line of therapy. Alternatives are offered and can be chosen at a later time if required. Here, the clinician can review specific guidelines relevant only to the patient's characteristics. Classes of recommendations and levels of evidence are also provided. Once all information has been entered, the software compares options suggested for the patient from current guidelines in a tabular form. On the left-hand side, there is a list of all the approved medications, and on the right, there is what software has selected as a referent. The most effective medication for the patient is shown automatically as a drug of choice. Information on the efficacy and safety of the selected treatment is presented on a scatter plot. All the calculations and comparisons are based on the network meta-analysis. If the clinician wishes to confirm the current selection, they press the next button. In this case, the clinician selects the use of oral anticoagulants, as the patient has not been the subject to this therapy in the past. The program then calculates the main risk factors for this medication using scales. In this case, data show that these medications carry a relatively high risk of stroke and bleeding. In these calculations, the software presents the maximum risk factors for treatments. A forest plot is used to reflect the information, including the reference number of studies and all other statistical data. In this case, the p-score clearly illustrates reliable correlation between the efficacy and safety of a particular drug in comparison to others. Bigatran at a dose of 150 milligrams is shown to be the most effective but less safe. Given the high risk of the patient bleeding, the doctor decides to exclude the Bigatran from the analysis and to choose apixaban instead. Edoxaban, it was also excluded, let's say because it was not available. As a result of all this, a different selection sample is shown by the system. On the right-hand side of the table, it can now be seen that the rates ratio for the anticoagulants group have changed, reflecting the exclusion of the previously mentioned drug. The forest plot reflects the statistical reliability of the difference between the drug of choice, in this case apixaban, and the comparison group. The values to the left of 1 show the advantages of the comparison group. In this case, apixaban is more effective than the Bigatran, but the Bigatran at a dose of 110 mg is safer. On the right-hand side, one can see the comparative advantages of the referent. The article section has links to the full text versions. Abstracts in local languages are also available. Here they're shown in Russian. At the final step, all the information on the risk factors for the patient is presented, as well as all supporting information. Information on the selected medications and its dosage is given alongside the evidence supporting the made decisions. The service provides information on the modification of the main risk factors such as arterial hypertension, diabetes mellitus, obesity, and other comorbidities. The role of the patient in the successful treatment of atrial fibrillation and the frequency of their visits is mentioned here too. Thus, in 5 minutes, a doctor receives statistical calculations for making a fully informed decisions of the most effective therapy for the patient. By the end of 2020, the MedicBK team plans to have firm content throughout all areas of cardiology and to conduct a multi-centered registered study. The pilot version in oncology is already on its way. This implemented approach allows us to talk about MedicBK being an ecosystem where quality registered data is collected for artificial intelligence training and medical big data interpretation. Please visit our website for more details.